Houston Station, Atlantis on the big loop, initiating RPM in 3, 2, 1, mark. We copy.
Houston copies.
With that, Commander Chris Ferguson now will begin the slow 3/4 of a degree per second rotational backflip. This again is about a 9-minute maneuver. You'll hear the start photography call initiated when the orbiter is in the correct orientation of this procedure. The actual R-bar pitch maneuver will last about 9 minutes in duration. About 93 seconds of available photography for Sergei Volkov, Mike Fossum, and Satoshi Furukawa. Poetry in motion as Atlantis conducts the final R-bar pitch maneuver in shuttle program history.
Atlantis Houston, air to ground 2, no response required. The last step. Atlantis Houston, air to ground 2, to complete what I was saying, last step of airlock fan act number 11 is an action today, not a verify.
Last step is an action, not a verify. Thanks. Station Atlantis on the big loop. Start photos. Starting photos.
And with that, a period of about 93 seconds of good photography now initiated for Sergei Volkov, Mike Fossum, and Satoshi Furukawa, using digital cameras and high-powered lenses out of the Zvezda service module.
station, Atlantis on the big loop. End photos. Copy, end photos.
And with that, the digital imagery comes to an end. Hundreds of photos were snapped during this 90-second period of available photography. Like no other vehicle can, the Space Shuttle completing its R-bar pitch maneuver. Passing over the North Atlantic, Atlantis holding rock solid.
MCC Moscow SS.
The rendezvous officer indicates to Flight Director Quatziela Barujo that Commander Chris Ferguson has flown a textbook R-bar pitch maneuver. Soon he will initiate what is called the Torva maneuver, the twice orbital rate V-bar arrival maneuver, in which he will break out of the radial vector and move to a position about 310 feet or so in front of the International Space Station along the velocity vector or the direction of travel for both vehicles. With the R-bar pitch maneuver having been completed, the mechanical systems officer here in Mission Control reports that the crew is now working the procedures for the power-up of the orbiter docking mechanism that is located at the front of the payload bay right behind the aft bulkhead of the crew compartment. Atlantis and the International Space Station crossing the coast of northern France and Belgium. 600 feet separating the two vehicles. And the rendezvous officer confirms that Atlantis has now begun to break out from the radial vector to the position in front of the International Space Station. Again, this maneuver is called the TORVA, or Twice Orbital Rate V-bar Arrival Maneuver. With an elegance and grace all unto itself, Atlantis flying over Central Europe at an altitude of 239 statute miles, moving to a point about 300 feet directly in front of the International Space Station. Both the station and shuttle flight control teams will be polled momentarily to get a final go for docking. Atlantis continuing to fly to a position in front of the International Space Station, having just crossed the Black Sea, now crossing the northern coast of Turkey. Just 470 feet separating Atlantis from the International Space Station. We will be losing this downlink television capability from the International Space Station just a few minutes from now for a 15-minute gap. Once Commander Chris Ferguson establishes Atlantis on the velocity vector in front of the International Space Station at a distance of about 300 feet or so, he will begin to slowly fly Atlantis back toward the station, aligning the orbiter docking mechanism that you see at the forward portion of the payload bay with the docking port on the forward end of the Harmony module of the International Space Station, that being pressurized mating adapter number 2. 40